How's it going, Forex? Welcome back to the Inside of My Screen. My name is Desmond Samuel, and this is yet another episode of our weekly Forex forecast. And in a previous week, we've actually been making money from gold shorts. We're shorting gold for the best of I think from the last quarter into early the second half. We've been shorting gold for quite some time now, and it has been giving us some amount of money. But now you always need to understand that after every circle in the market, after every significant drop comes a profit taking region in the market. All right, so this is good in a nutshell. And if you've been around for a while, or if you go through my Forex channel, you may have seen me call gold quite some time. We've been trading gold right from the inside of this level, like so this was since April, but to be precise. So this was still, so we're shorting gold since April to be precise. All right, so we're shorting this pair from this point, like so you need to also understand that even in the course of your trade, like as your trade advances towards your take profit level, you need to understand that there are various levels in the market called take profit zones, where the market or the rest of the traders take out their money from the market, and this sends the market into some form of a halt or a break or a resting point or a reversal state. You get me? And that's exactly what's happening on gold. Remember, we're short inside of here, like so. It was a simple counter channel break, we're short like so, and then had another entry here, and now we've got into a point of take profit here. Be smashed. Okay, now at this point, what we simply need to do is look out for the potential pullbacks to the areas in the market where the market give clues before hitting this level. And at this point here, we can simply count our waves. If you're familiar with counting your waves in the market, that is your characteristic of a downtrend. Okay, I teach that for every single outworking in the market, there ought to be characteristics. That is, you need to understand what makes what worth. You get me? So now for this, we have a downtrend. So this is a high, this is a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, obviously here. So now technically speaking, the market is still moving south. Now we've come into a point of a reversal level here at this point at right around 4,000 or $3,942 announced for gold, like so, and you would expect the market to reverse, and it is currently doing so. All right, so now, but it doesn't leave us in the mix. Okay, so we actually know where to wait for gold. So the market doesn't leave us. So the market doesn't actually leave us clueless. We actually know where to wait for gold to pull back into. And I'm just going to use something called a simple trend line tool, and then also my Fibonacci tool, like so. So once I can spot that this was, the most significant high from here, like so. So I can just try and connect my very peaks. Okay, so I can clearly already see that, we have a descending trend line in play. So this is a high, this is a low, lower high, lower low here. So obviously we need to come in and put in a lower high somewhere inside of here, like so. Now if you look left, actually where this market gave us that significant pause before it continued lower, this was it. So you want to go ahead and highlight this level, like so, and this already lets you know that all things being equal, we are anticipating that gold pulls back into regions of about $4,320 an ounce. So this is where we'll most likely have another decent entry to go short on gold. You feel me? So this looks on the 4-hour time frame is going to be something like this. Heading into the next couple of weeks, we expect to see gold pull back. Let me just adjust this level properly. Now, I don't like to see too many lines on my chart, so pardon me, I might have to get rid of this particular trend, and it's not as needed anymore. So now, looking at the current price as shown here, we need to see gold pull back into 4,000. Roughly 4,340, like so. Once it gives us that decent pullback, we are in the business of shorting gold. All right, so my prime target remains the same on gold, back at this level. Okay, for fourth level targets, obviously back at this level, and then subsequently we should see gold break. If it does breach this level, like so, I'll be a lot more confident to come on here to call out gold all the way down to the bottom. Again, it just depends on what's happening, what's happening in the market. But once I see the gold breach this blue bar, like so, we should see gold drop significantly towards $3,190 an ounce. So till then, this is exactly where I'm waiting for gold to pull back into. So we have regions of about $4,320 an ounce. Once it pulls back in there, obviously this is a Fibonacci play, like so. So it's gonna be one of the most decent or easiest trades to place. All right, so Fibonacci is aligned, our minor levels is aligned, we have trend lines aligned. So this is a 3 confluence zone, like so. So this is going to be one of the simplest trades if it does materialize. You get me? So long story short, I'm waiting for gold to pull back into region of about 4,320, like so. Once it does that, I'll be here to let you guys exactly how to capitalize on this trade. That's why I need you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so that whenever I drop these pairs, you'll be among the very first few to see it and then take advantage of these pairs. All right. So that being said, let's move on to the next pair of my interest, and that seems to be silver. Now you need to understand that there are certain pairs that are positively correlated in the market. That is to say, when one is moving in one direction, the other tends to follow suit. All right. So in that case, we have gold and silver. Now it would not make any sense for me to be trying to go short on gold and then looking to go long on silver. No. All right. So now, quite frankly, technically speaking, every single thing on silver seems to be pointing bearish at this moment. All right. So, and I need you to just reason with me for a second. So you can clearly see that we have a high here. This is a low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Clearly speaking, we have some form of a double top here. I play double top. Then the right hand side of the double top is even lower than the left hand side. This points every single thing to the south, okay, bearish. Now, one of the criteria of a chart pattern being validated is that you must break the neckline, and this has been achieved on a weekly time frame. By the way, 2 candles are broken out of this neckline, so this is a clear-cut double top that has been confirmed. So what we simply need to do, in my opinion, is to scale down to the daily time frame. Now, where the market broke this neckline, that is where you really want to go and wait for the market to pull back into, and that is clearly regions of about $66 per troy ounce, because silver is measured in troy ounce. All right, so $60 per troy ounce is where we actually want to wait for this guy to pull back into. As you can see, double top confirmed, neckline broken, neckline gave us a supply level, so this is where we actually want to pull back into, like so. So long story short, a pullback towards $66 per troy ounce for silver will give us a decent entry. Now for silver, let me just give you this caution here. Do not throw caution to the wind when you're trading silver. It's a lot more volatile compared to gold. Yeah, this moves a lot faster compared to gold. People think gold is the most volatile pair. Have you met silver? I present to you silver. Silver is a lot more volatile than gold. So when you're trading this pair, please have that at the back of your mind. Things could move really fast. I mean, really, really fast. All right. So scaling out to the 4-hour time frame, I can already see that this most likely, again, gold and silver are the 2 pairs I'm actually looking at. I mean, amongst the rest of the pairs. All right, so you can clearly see this is en route, fulfilling every single criteria of a downtrend, okay? And even inside of this 4-hour range, like, so you can even see a head and shoulders pattern again. So on the weekly time frame, we have a head and shoulders pattern, neckline broken. Daily time frame, head and shoulders pattern, neckline broken. 4-hour time frame, head and shoulders pattern, head neckline broken, and even went ahead to give us a supply level at the right hand side. So this in itself is ticking all the boxes for me. I'm telling you this, quite frankly, I have no reasons as to why silver should not give me some money going into the next couple of weeks. All right, so this is a Fibonacci play checked. All right, so all I need to see is a pullback into $60 per troy ounce. Once this is, you can already see this flagging nicely, okay? One of the ways to know a pair that's gonna give you, a decent pullback and a decent entry is that it's gonna pull back slowly, and this was happening on silver. Once this gets into this blowback like so, all we simply need to do is scale down to the 4-hour time frame, make an entry, and hold to our first take profit will be where the market reversed at, which I've preached over time for the past 4 years. Always take your profits where the market reversed in the most, recent low or the recent high, depends on what the trend is. And in this case, happens to be $56 per 49 dollars per troy ounce for silver. All right. So once you get an entries here, correct, short into this level. First level target is at $56 per troy ounce, and then subsequently we see this guy collapse further to $47 per troy ounce for silver, and that marks the end of silver. So let's just talk about USD CHF in a nutshell. So on the other hand, on the flip side of things, that we have USD CHF. Now let me just give you a quick overview on the USD CHF. Now you can clearly see that overall we are putting series of lower lows and lower highs, so this was significantly trending downwards. Now for some strange reasons, we got here and then we bottomed out of this level like so, and then we failed to put in a lower low or an equal low. Instead, we put in a higher low from here. Anytime you see the market fail to continue giving you the characteristic of a particular trend, and now it starts giving something opposite to that, you need to pay close attention to that. Yeah. Now in this case here, if you look closely, in previous seasons we are putting, so this is a high, this is a low, lower high, lower low, equal highs, equal lows, equal lows here. We broke out of here, put in a lower high, lower low, lower high. All right, so now technically speaking, this has come into putting a higher low from here. Okay, this in itself shows that there's a change in trend at the moment. And if you look closely on the weekly time frame, okay, you can see that even this higher low from this other low come in with a head or shoulders pattern, which is the inverse now. Now the inverse and the shoulders pattern came with the right hand side being a bullish engulfing weekly time frame candlestick. This is quite significant. All right, so scaling down to the daily time frame. I feel like I've just spoken a lot of English, but let's just let's see how we can make money from this pair. All right, enough of this jargon. So scaling down to the daily time frame, like so you can clearly see that on the right hand side of things, the trend is starting to shift bullish. All right, so this is already a low in itself. Let me just pull out a trend line and connect the dots for you in a moment. You can see this clearly. This is it. Okay, so now this is already an uptrend. Okay, so this is a low, this is a high, higher low, higher high. Okay, so technically speaking, even inside of the structure, we can see that this is the head, shoulder, shoulder. Neckline was broken somewhere around here like so for a chart pattern. This is it. So long story, we are looking for USD to pull back into 0.79046. Once it does pull back here, I'll let you guys, I'll let you guys know how you can actually, capitalize on this trade. So for now, a pullback towards 0.79400 is what we're actually waiting for USD to come into. So this is going to line up with every single criteria we have in our books. All right, Fibonacci checked, trend line checked. So what we simply need to do, even chart pattern checked, trend checked. So what we simply need to do is have a decent entry either on the 4-hour time frame or on the 1-hour time frame, depending on what time frame was for you. But I would recommend sticking on the higher time frame, like the 4-hour time frame, because it's a lot more authentic. All right, so our first level target going long on USD will be obviously at the recent high. This is it. Okay, and then once we blow through that level, we are en route towards 0.84 000, like so, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so this is in the books for us to pocket as traders. All right, so for now, as you can see, there's no other pair that has something very, very decent to offer. That's, I'm not talking about them as much. So for now, our attention is on silver, on USD and on gold. So like I said earlier, stay true to this channel. Make sure you click on the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon, and then let me know what you think about this video in the comments. And you guys are free, you're free to send me an email about any inquiries you have. And then also we have a mentorship program going for $99, just $99. Yes, you can just enroll and let's get you started in your trading journey, and then put an end to trial and error with your financial goals. All right, so for now, I'll catch you guys next time. Trade safe and apply proper risk management, and peace out.